I want you to picture Patricia. She's sitting in a lender's office with a knot in her stomach. Her credit score is 621. The news is brutal. A 7% interest rate on a $300,000 home. That's $180,000 in extra interest. Pure waste. But 93 days later, Patricia returned. Her score was 761. Same income, same person, but she'd saved $215,000. This isn't a miracle. It's a mechanism built into the system that banks hope you'll never understand. Let's look at why. When you ask a loan officer how to fix your credit, they'll usually offer a sympathetic smile and a script. They'll tell you that credit scores move like glaciers. They'll say it takes years of disciplined waiting and perhaps a few expensive monitoring services to see any real change. Don't expect miracles, they'll warn. This is the first lie of the financial system. Banks have zero incentive to teach you how to improve your score quickly. Why would they? A lower score allows them to categorize you as high risk, which is just industry shorthand for someone we can charge 7% instead of 4%. To them, your ignorance is a profit margin. They benefit from you believing that credit is a mysterious, slow-moving force of nature. But here's the reality. Credit scoring isn't a personality test or a measure of your worth as a human being. It is a mechanical calculation performed by an algorithm. This isn't a story about magic or luck. It's a story about understanding the rigid mathematical rules that govern the machine. The system doesn't move slowly because it has to. It moves slowly because most people don't know which levers to pull. So when you understand that the score is just a reflection of specific data points reported at specific times, you realize that you don't need years. You just need to change the data before the next report is generated. This isn't about hacking the system. It's about finally learning how to play the game by the actual rules. Most people believe that if they pay their bills on time, they're doing everything right. They treat their credit card like a monthly utility. Use it, wait for the bill, pay it off. They think as long as the check clears, the algorithm is happy. This is the second great lie of the credit world. The system doesn't just care that you pay, it cares deeply about how much you are using. You've probably heard of the 30% rule. The idea that as long as you keep your balance below 30% of your limit, your score is safe. I call this the 30% myth. Let's look at the math. If you have a $10,000 limit and you charge $3,000 for a new sofa or a few weeks of upscale groceries, you are at 30% utilization. To a human, that looks like a responsible person managing their cash flow. But to the cold, unfeeling eye of the scoring algorithm, you've just crossed a threshold of risk. In the world of high-performance credit, 30% isn't a goal, it's a failing grade. If you want the scores that Patricia achieved, you need to understand the invisible hunger of the algorithm. To get maximum points, your utilization shouldn't be 30%. It should be under 10%, or ideally, 1%. Think of it this way. The algorithm is a psychological profiler. If it sees you using $3,000 out of $10,000, it assumes you need that money to survive your lifestyle. It smells desperation. But if it sees you with a $10,000 limit and you only report a $100 balance, it concludes that you are swimming in liquidity. The algorithm doesn't care how much you actually earn or how expensive your sectional sofa looks. It only cares about how hungry you look for credit. The secret to a perfect score isn't proving you can pay back a lot of money. It's proving you don't need the money at all. Here is the secret to Patricia's 140-point jump. It's a mechanism so simple it feels like a glitch, yet most people spend their entire lives on the wrong side of it. You probably have two dates on your credit card portal, the due date and the statement date. Most people obsess over the due date. They pay their bill religiously every month before the deadline. They feel responsible. They feel in control. But here's the reality. By the time your due date arrives, the damage is already done. The due date is for you and the bank. It's about avoiding late fees. But the statement date, that is for the credit bureaus. That is the exact moment the bank takes a snapshot of your balance and reports it to Experian and Equifax. Imagine you have a $5,000 limit. You spend $4,000 during the month on a new laptop, some furniture, and a few dinners out. You plan to pay it all off on the due date, but your statement date is 2 weeks earlier. On that day, the bank looks at your account, sees you are using 80% of your limit, and reports that high-risk number to the bureaus. Even if you pay every penny the next day, the system thinks you're drowning in debt for the rest of the month. Your score drops, not because you're broke, but because you're out of sync. This is the framework. You don't pay on the due date. You pay 3 days before the statement date. When you do this, the bank takes its snapshot and sees a zero balance, or better yet, a balance of just $10. It reports a 1% utilization rate. To the algorithm, you look like a fortress of stability. You've used the credit, but you've wiped the tracks before the auditors arrived. Patricia didn't get richer in 93 days. She didn't find extra cash under her mattress. She simply realized that the timing of the information matters more than the truth of the payment. She stopped paying the bank and started feeding the algorithm. The results speak for themselves. This isn't a story about being good with money. It's a story about being precise with data. Close the gap between when you spend and when they report. That is how you win. In the automotive world, there's a term for those massive, pristine pickup trucks you see in suburban driveways. Pavement Princesses. They are lifted, chrome-plated, and expensive, yet their beds have never touched a single piece of lumber or a bag of soil. They exist purely for the image of capability without ever performing a single day of work. Many people treat their credit scores exactly like a pavement princess. They obsess over increasing their credit limits not because they are buying a home or investing in an asset, but because a high limit feels like a status symbol. It feels like a permission slip to upgrade a lifestyle they haven't actually earned. They use that expanded limit to finance pavement princess purchases, luxury watches that sit in boxes, designer bags that never leave the closet, or high-end electronics that provide a week of dopamine before becoming expensive paperweights. Here is the truth. A credit limit is a tool, not a trophy. When you use your credit score to finance a lifestyle multiplier of depreciating toys, you are essentially digging your own financial grave with a gold-plated shovel. You're paying 22% interest to look like someone who doesn't have to worry about interest. It is the ultimate form of financial insecurity disguised as progress. Credit should be a lever for building wealth, like securing a mortgage for a home that appreciates or a loan for a business that generates cash flow. It is a bridge to a better future, not a vehicle for a fake present. If your high credit score is only being used to buy things that make you look capable while your bank account remains empty, you don't own a financial asset. You own a pavement princess. And eventually, the cost of maintaining that image will exceed the value of the image itself. Stop financing the person you want people to think you are and start using your credit to become the person you actually want to be. Last month, you probably logged into your bank app and saw a friendly pop-up. Update your annual income to help us serve you better, it said. It looks like a routine housekeeping task, as harmless as updating your phone number. But I want you to reconsider that update button. When you tell a bank your income, you aren't just filling a box. You're handing over ammunition. This is the data extraction trap. Banks use this updated number to run simulations on how much more debt you can carry before you break. They aren't trying to serve you better. They are trying to optimize their profit margin by adjusting your credit limits and interest offers based on your new earning power. If your income went up, they see a larger harvest. If it went down, they see a reason to tighten the leash. In either scenario, the information benefits the institution, not the individual. The reality is that your income is a private data point that has surprisingly little impact on your actual credit score. The algorithm doesn't care if you earn $50,000 or $500,000. It cares about your behavioral footprint, your payment history, and your ability to live within your means. There's power in silence. You are under no obligation to provide a roadmap of your financial growth to a profit maximizing entity. Keep your income to yourself. Let your responsible actions be the only data they get. In a world that wants to track every penny you earn, the most sophisticated financial move you can make is to simply close the pop-up and stay quiet. Knowledge is power, but withheld data is protection. Patricia's reality changed in 93 days, but her paycheck didn't. The only variable was her clarity. The system isn't designed for you to win. It's designed for you to participate indefinitely. But once you understand the mechanical rules, you can stop playing their game and start building your own empire. That $215,000 in interest is no longer a debt. It's a retirement fund. The math is fixed, but the outcome is yours to decide. So, we look at your situation clearly. Will you be the one paying for the bank's profit, or the one using their rules to buy your own freedom? The choice is yours.